Guys, welcome back to the Nobody Else podcast. I'm so excited about this episode. We have our, third guest host. It is All Right Hey.
Hello, I'm here reclaiming my time, reclaiming my moment after being executed so quickly in the Influencer Hunger Games.
Well, yes. I want you to know that I didn't personally have a part in that storyline.
Yeah, but it does feel personal, doesn't it?
It really does, especially the way you went out was that one really felt written for you.
Yeah.
You can
I just
thank
looked
Lockie.
at the lineup and I thought, well, clearly this really is fake because half these bitches I would absolutely win against in the Hunger Games. So for half of them to outlive me, I obviously wasn't happy about that.
You think like in a real hand-to-hand combat, you're good?
For sure.
All
for
right.
sure. Yeah.
I actually know. What's your star sign?
Funny story this. I am a Libra,
Okay.
but I am on the cusp of, so my birthday's October 23rd,
Oh,
and that's actually a Scorpio day.
yes.
But, and I know this is a very Scorpio thing to say, but the day that I was born, because obviously Scorpio just doesn't happen at midnight, like
Yeah.
there's a certain time
Yeah.
throughout the day. So the year that I was born, it turned to Scorpio season about 15 minutes later. So I'm still just got into Libra.
But you have
Season.
Scorpio energy sometimes.
Well, I mean, you could say that, but when I read the Woman's Weekly, none of those star signs match up with me. Like the horoscopes, Scorpio, I always read theirs and goes, nah, that's way off. But Libra, always.
Okay, I'm a Libra too.
Yeah,
I love
nice.
being a Libra. It's not just the indecisiveness. I think Libras are always life of the party. I think we're the best to gossip to. 'Cause
Agree.
We're equal parts reality checking people, but also getting into it.
Exactly.
It's fun, but we're like,
Yeah.
okay.
See, that's me. I'm like, you know what? Let's have a bitch, but also here's the life lesson in that.
Exactly. And not only, it's like, oh, let's rise above, but also that was an ugly thing. She was like, you know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
I'm like, but let's support her.
Absolutely.
It's silly.
Whereas
silly.
what would a Scorpio be? Just the bitch and no life lesson.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't have a gossip session with an Aquarius or a Sagittarius. Sagittarius want nothing about empathy.
Really?
Nothing about
That's
it.
so interesting because my best friend is an Aquarius.
Oh yeah.
And we have great gossip sessions.
Right.
Maybe I am a Scorpio.
Maybe.
And
Maybe.
then my sister's a Sagittarius and we love a bitch as well. So
Yeah. All my friends are Cancers, so a bitch session is them weeping.
is them what?
Weeping, crying.
Yeah. Well, okay, so my boyfriend's is a Cancer and he's very sensitive and I mean, I want to say we can't have a bitch because he's just is so lovely. He's just so lovely to everybody.
Yeah.
And so we often do have a bitch, but most of the time he sees, as a Libra, I weigh up the situation and go,
Yeah.
well, this is the good, this is the bad, whereas he just sees a lot of the good in people, which is
Yeah.
lovely. Obviously, that's what you want in a partner.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, oh my God, can you just tell someone to fuck off?
You need that, like, he needs your presence in his life. I feel like every, like, watery, airy, like,
Yeah.
crying sign needs someone to be like, snap out of it.
Oh, we're definitely a good balance. So yeah, it makes sense.
Whenever Lockie and I ever, like, not that we ever fight, but, like, we bicker like siblings, and it's really a funny, like, combination because he is a Taurus to a T. He's like a bull with big horns, like a metal solid skull. Like, he's like, no.
Yeah.
But he's really upfront, which I need because I'm a Libra, but I got a Cancer moon, so I can't let anything sit for, like, I'm not someone that can be bottled up.
I
can be
do
bottled
love
up
a bit
for-
of a bottle though.
I can be bottled up for 5 minutes and it's coming out.
Really?
I'm crying.
Really? See, I'm more like I love the aspect of bottling the emotions and then exploding.
You're shaking it up.
Yeah, for
You're-
sure. I'll put some Mentos in it. I'm ready for it to go off, love.
You said, welcome to year 4. Here's my volcano, bitch.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
I can't do it. I try to. And I'm like, if someone said one mean thing to me, I'm like, okay. Like, and then I'm weeping within 4 seconds.
Oh, no, I'm in my match your energy era. So I'm matching energy. So the energy you give me is exactly what I'll give you back. So if you want to start a fight, let's fucking go. But if you are lovely to me, I'll be lovely to you. Like I'm definitely a match your energy kind of person.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I've been trying to put a spin on that recently. I've been trying to, especially within industry stuff, like relationships, I'm pretty sensitive, but industry stuff, I've been trying to just annoy people. Like if they're standoffish around me or if like I can tell they don't like me, I'm just going to be painstakingly nice.
Really?
I'm like, you're not going to be, I'm not giving you anything to run to the group chat with. You're going to have to be like,
I'm like, talk
actually,
about me.
Yeah.
Talk about me. If you want to talk about it in your group chat, you're acting like a fan, baby.
True.
You know what I mean?
True. Okay, true. I did it in a weird way. Something bad happened to me recently. God, again, it's a story that like, if you're in Sydney comedy, get out.
Don't
get
listen
out.
to this.
Why would you be here? This is my private diary. There's a lock on it. It's voice activated. There was a girl who I thought was like quite standoffish around me, and I just thought she was like,
Name them.
no, I can't.
Name 'em.
I can't because of how this story ends. She's very like, I thought she was like kind of glaring at me, kind of like standoffish. And I was talking to my friend about it because I hate when people don't like me. And I was like, man, she's pissing me off so much. What could I possibly have done to her? Man, I don't know why she's being so mean. You know what? I'm not even going to be mean back to her. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be so nice that I'm going to be so nice that she has a sex dream about me. And then she wakes up really confused about it. Really confused. And then a few days later, we were out and we were dancing. And then she was sort of dancing with us and we were sort of dancing. And she leans in to kiss me. And I duck the kiss, and then I make direct eye contact with my friend who just mouths to me across the room, she had the sex dream.
No!
We manifested
You're
too
lying.
close.
You're lying.
We manifested too close to the sun. We were like,
Oh my God.
oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And so then I didn't want to know what to do.
Right, you'll be telling me after the podcast.
Of course. Isn't no one like,
I do love that
very
when
funny.
you record a podcast, like, you say these stories and you go, can't say anything. And then just for everyone listening, just to let you know, as soon as we stop hitting record, we go, right, we'll tell all the
Well,
tea.
who was that? Well, Lockie and I, like, I forgot which one it is, but on this sound desk, we do have a bleep button.
Oh, yeah,
Which
nice.
was so fun for a while.
Nice.
It really saved Lockie a lot of editing because we did an episode about the TikTok awards,
Oh, yeah.
which is mostly beeps.
Yeah, see.
Saying a
for the
strong 50.
We do use a beep on High Scrollers, my podcast, but I'm also at the point where I'm just like, I'll just say it.
It does get a bit like that. Well, you have exceptions about who you're allowed to like.
Yeah, for sure.
Like with our full chest on this podcast, we'll say Reese Bros.
I don't even know who that is. So.
Oh, it's like very tea towel on the head guy.
Oh, okay, yes.
You know,
Oh, that's all you need to say. I know exactly
Very
who you're talking
that.
about now.
We're anti tea towel on the head around here. We'll get a bad wig. No, I'm kidding. Okay. Going back to the Hunger Games. I had so much fun doing that, and like I really appreciate how on board everyone got with it, especially you. I loved that you were just cranky about it from the get-go.
Well, I'm always happy to do a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm always happy to get on board, and I think one of the biggest problems that I have with comedy and the internet these days is like people just obviously take things way too seriously. And sometimes on my podcast, like I'll say something rogue just to get to a punchline, just to make people laugh. That isn't actually how I feel. It isn't actually a true statement or you know what I mean, but just to kind of like wrap it in a bow. And when it came to the influencer Hunger Games, like I sent that, sent the voice message, and Lockie had to follow up and be like, are you sure I'm allowed to use this? Because you say some pretty nasty stuff about some people in there. And I said, Dal, it's just a joke. Like, if they've got a problem with it, like, I don't really care. I've got no beef with anyone that I said anything about in there. I'm like, it's entertainment purposes only. If they've really got a problem, like, in my eyes, I go, grow up, love. Like,
Grow up.
So, but no one had a problem anyway, so that's good. But these sorts of things are so exciting to me. So when you did it, I thought this is one of the smartest things I've seen from a podcast in a very long time. And second of all, I jumped at the chance to be involved because it's fun and it's silly, and that's what I am. I just want to have fun, silly moments and not take life too seriously. You know what I mean?
Exactly. There was even people like in our lives who were like, oh, like you're talking about killing people.
Oh, shut up.
The only line that we ever
People
drew.
die every day, love.
The only line we drew was with the Clarks because we're like, we're not going to kill those kids.
Yeah.
That feels crazy to be like, can we hypothetically
she's 11.
killed your children on the podcast? Like, that's insane. We were like, oh, I better not. But like, even that's funny. This is what I always say about short form media in general. People see you as this like 9:16, 30-second clip. And anything you say, they can't use their brains and imagine that you are a person who has lived years and years of existence and you might have any sort of nuance.
Yes.
There might be any sort of context outside of that. Like you say one sentence and they go, that is what you believe every second of every day, no matter what.
Yes.
So they go, well, how about this? Yeah.
And it's even gotten like more full on with it goes beyond what you say, and also it also affects or includes your actions. Like for example, liking someone else's content can now be seen as a way for people to attack you. Like, you liked this video and that person thinks this, so you must think this too because you supported their content and liked it. I'm like, babe, I just saw a funny fucking reel that I liked, and now that person has all these wild views that like I obviously don't agree with, but because I've liked their content, people, you know what I mean? Like, it's just...
You see a video of someone you don't know, you find it funny, and it's a 15-second video, you like it. 2 years later, comes out that 10 years ago that person did blackface. Well, I didn't know.
Yeah, legit.
I'm not fighting tooth and nail. I'm not on the front lines for this person. What?
And also, on that note, on the note of blackface, no, not particularly blackface, but I am such a big advocate for growth and change and learning from your behaviors. And I have said many times before, I mean, I've never done blackface, but I have said before that there have been things in the past that I've done 10 years ago that would, if I did them today, get me cancelled in a heartbeat, including, you know, going to a Mexican themed party, wearing the sombrero and the poncho and the mustache. Like, we now know that that is not an acceptable thing to do.
For sure.
Whereas remember back in the day at music festivals, it was the trend to wear the Indian headdress. And now obviously you wouldn't be doing that in this day and age. And if you did, you deserve to be cancelled for it. But I am not someone who will ever cancel someone for something they did 10 years ago or said 15 years ago. I think that is ridiculous. And because we all have made mistakes in our lives, and if you're not growing and you're not changing and you're still acting that way, sure, let's have a problem with it. But I don't know, I'm just like, once I realized or was told or learnt about why it was wrong, like, it hasn't been a thought to ever put on a sombrero. I look at El Camino and go, how are we allowing that to happen, going out and putting on the sombrero and blah, blah, blah. And
you know, they had to veto that poncho. I went, what about that? And everyone went,
yeah, I cringe every time I see someone go out and put the Mexican hat on at El Camino. I don't know. But I'll never be someone who cancels someone for something they did. Blackface is probably where I draw the line, though. I think that's probably cancelable.
Because there's no way, and even in the 20s, that was crazy. But like, there's no way in your like, in the like post-2000 life that you didn't know that was a bit sketch.
Yeah, for sure.
Because even that then, like, there was a lot of things where it was like, you know, like Native American like headdress and stuff. It was, no one had any idea that it was bad until conversations like that started happening. It's like, if they do it these days. Also, I need people on the internet to remember we live in like an absolute lefty bubble, because you know what, at music festivals in, you know, not where we're from, people are still wearing those. Yeah. And people are still like wearing like, you know, like the bindies and stuff, because and they're like, it's festival wear. I'm like, you were dressed in someone's traditional outfit. But it's like, it happens other places where so like someone should be put down for doing that. It's like, let's not do it, but like, I need you to know that it's happening. I need you to be aware that other places, they're not at the level where. I also
just think, like, use your anger properly. Like, if you are really angry about something that someone said 10, 15 years ago, I just think, can you not use that anger to fight things that are happening right now in our world today? Like, why are we focused on something that happened 15 years ago that we can't change, that blah, blah, blah? I'm like, if you are so angry, put your anger to a good cause and actually do something that you can change today and not harp on about something that happened so long ago. But I mean, this is just me. I could be wrong.
No.
Whatever.
And I always say this, if you're going to watch an influencer do a haul and they're unpackaging things and you go, that's a lot of plastic, mama, you better be posting that from the tree that you have changed yourself to. I swear to God.
Seriously. And just like, because I just was on tour and I posted about buying new lashes for every single show, brand new lashes for every single show.
Yeah.
And someone messaged like within 2 minutes of me posting going, the environment, this is so disgusting. I'm like, okay, the media literacy has gone out the window. I am not wearing this pair of lashes and throwing it in the bin. All of these lashes will get worn 30 times until I've got a sty in my eye, darling.
Yeah.
But
Not
just
for this
on
show.
stage,
Yeah.
you want a fresh pair of lashes so you look, you know, as presentable as possible. Like I'm not just using it once and throwing it out. So, but you can't convey that in a 10-second Instagram story, can you? I can't give you, like, how many disclaimers do I have to give, Dal? I can't be bothered.
Yeah, it's like if I see that person, you know, shopping at Coles, I'm going to be like, well, actually, you should. Like, I need you to think about the land mass that 30 pairs of eyelashes is going to take up.
And also, bring plastic back. Sorry. No, I'm not kidding. Let's go. Let's go here.
Yeah, let's
First
get
of
on
all,
the paper straws.
fuck a paper straw. I am all for the turtles. I'm all for getting rid of plastic straws.
Yeah.
But we need a good alternative.
It needs
we
to be better than
need
that.
reusable straws in clubs. I mean, that's disgusting though, isn't it? So there's a problem there. Paper straws. Paper straws, they go soggy. Now, you know, they're saying that they're going to bring out thicker paper straws. Well, that's not a nice experience either. So if you're going to
Toilet
take
roll
away
straws.
no, literally. And then also Coles with their paper bags, ripping every time I put something in it. It says on the bottom like holds like 12 kilos or something. Bull fucking shit. I had 4 yogurts in it the other day. It went ballistic. It broke. Bring back the paper because weren't the plastic bags recycled anyway?
Yeah, doesn't everyone have a little bag under their sink that all those go in?
Literally.
Well,
I miss them.
And I'm never, you know, I've got an unexplainable amount of old Coles and Woolies bags.
Oh, fuck, give them to me because I am missing
Yeah.
the plastic
You can have a
bags.
few. It's crazy. Oh, like even the reusable bags, because I've never remembered to bring them once. And then
Yeah.
every time I'm there, I go, oh, well, it's 20 cents for a paper one and it's $1 for a reusable one. I better buy the reusable one. Well, now I've got 50 of them.
Yeah.
And that's actually, you know what? And that is wasteful.
Which Woolworths needs to come up with a cuter reusable bag. I don't mind the Coles ones. They're not bad. Coles ones, I can do it. That fugly green.
It's bad.
And why does the writing on it come off so easily? It's not like I washed the damn thing, but it's like I've put it through a washer-dryer cycle. Are you not with me on this? Like the Woolworths green reusable bags are the fuggliest things I've
Coming
ever
apart
seen.
at the seams. It's true.
I
It's
feel
true.
embarrassed every time I have to pull one of those out. So if you're going to make a reusable bag, can you make it cute and enjoyable for the consumer?
Absolutely. I always love whenever they come under fire for anything, they always get the CEO in that Coles or Woolies uniform.
Yeah.
And he's there and he's like touching the produce. I'm like, you better
Yeah.
get back to like whatever island you were on.
You know he's just flown in private jet from the Hamptons just to make that quick video and then go back over.
Yes, yes. You know, afterwards he was like, get the shit off me.
Yes,
Yuck,
yes.
yuck, yuck.
Get me out of here.
Yeah.
He's the Coles CEO.
He
He's
would
like,
never
"Oh,
eat from
ugh,
there."
Yuck, I shop at Aldi.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, I'm eating farm produce.
Yeah.
This shit's disgusting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's like, oh, I don't know anything about this. We do HelloFresh.
Oh, God. I also wanted to talk to you about live performance because we were just saying about like live shows and stuff.
Oh, yeah?
So did you have before, because I know like social media, like, you know, lockdown is sort of where it all like really, really, really kicked off, but you were doing stuff before.
Yeah.
Then.
I've been doing social media, posting videos online for 10 years this year.
So exciting.
Exciting, but geriatric. I'm waiting for retirement. I'm 50-50, like half over it, but also absolutely loving it, obviously. Love it so much, but I find more and more me just getting over the way, the what's the word? The way that the internet is going. It's just getting worse. It's just getting worse to just
Brain
have
rot.
a joke, as we were saying. I just want to be silly.
Absolutely.
And no one will let anyone be silly. Everyone is so serious and I get it. They're angry about things in their own life and they're angry about the way the world is right now, cost of living,
For sure.
elections, who's in government, whatever. I get you're angry, but like they seem to take that out on me, a stranger they've never seen, and I've just popped up on their For You page and I'm just kind of at the point where I'm like, can you go, like, why isn't therapy mandatory?
If they have problems with us, like what some people is like, we're like a conservative's nightmare. And it's
Yeah.
like, if I'm offending you, my God, you're going to pass out when I tell you about the other people that are running around this earth.
Exactly.
I can't wait for you to see the other 80%
Yeah.
of human beings.
Yeah.
I promise I'm not the final boss.
Yeah.
I promise.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's insane. But like, I find live performance is actually a saving grace in that, because online stuff, it's just there's so much, like, obviously everyone can write something from behind a screen, and everyone just, like, I don't know, a person becomes not a real person when they just exist as a little picture on the phone. But live performance, I feel like as an industry and as a culture, thanks to awful open mics, you can really say whatever you want.
Yeah. And I really did in this show that
Yeah.
by the time this episode's out, like, I would have wrapped up the tour. And the show is called Dancing Queen. And the concept of the show is that it's my memoir that I've been trying to get published.
Yeah.
And no one will publish it. And so I'm performing it live on stage for everyone. And instead of you reading all the stories, I'm telling you all the stories on stage. And so the concept of the show was, stories from throughout my life, from childhood, literally from birth, all the way up to, sexual fantasies I had as a child, all the way up to having to deal with a partner who was very into BDSM, but as a fat person, there's enough going on in the bedroom I couldn't keep up, all the way to we spoke about so many things in the show that I just couldn't get away with. I mean, we were punching down on World Vision kids, we were punching down on homeless people, which homelessness is a huge issue, and online, and me personally, huge advocate for homelessness and people living without a home, obviously. But we are in a comedy show. We are there to laugh. We are there to punch down on people. And at the end of the day, I was always the butt of the joke.
Of course.
It always came around to me being the butt of the joke. And the story was going one way, and you thought I was kind of like punching down on homeless people, and then it turned around at the end, and turns out I'm the fool in the end.
The character is, look how dumb it would be for someone to be saying this.
Yes, exactly. And
Exactly.
same with World Vision. Like, at the start, everyone goes, oh my God, he's shitting on World Vision kids. And then the punchline is that my World Vision child, which I supported for so many years, and at the start of the story, I said that I cut her off, and then, that makes me seem like an asshole. And then the story comes around, and when I was writing the memoir and when I was doing the show, I Googled her and found her on LinkedIn, and she's now like a really successful real estate agent. And I then, the butt of the joke is she's got 7 properties under her belt. She's living in South Africa.
She didn't need you.
No, well, this is the whole point.
See,
this
that's
is the whole
funny.
point. The butt of the joke is like, I think we've swapped lives. Like, maybe I'm the fucking one who needs support from her
And
after all
exactly.
this, So I'm always the butt of the joke. And the concept of the show morphs into lessons that I've learned throughout my life.
Yeah.
And so I do talk about like the lessons. So the first lesson was, because I say we don't have enough time to read all the stories from my memoir, so I'll just teach you some of the lessons, because realistically, when you read a memoir, that's what you want to get out of it. So I said my first life lesson was that you only have one body in this life, so love it. And so then I talked all about my body, my recent gallstones, like all of those sorts of things. My second was that everything in life is a scam, which just means, be cautious, be wary. Everything can be something that it doesn't seem to be. And the third one was always help other people, which is where I spoke about homelessness and World Vision kids and helping other people. And the last life lesson was that life is short. And last year, 2023, I lost a lot of people in my life. A lot of people around me died. And it was the first time in my life where I'd really actually experienced death from people I've had people die who were very close to me in the past, but there were a lot of people very quickly and very suddenly last year, and direct family members, which I'd never had before, and things like that. And I was confronted with like the life lesson that life is short. And so that's the message that I share with the audience at the end of the show. And I'm like, no matter what is going on, life is short. None of us are guaranteed tomorrow. And I would hate to die tomorrow not being happy today. And the show ends with me saying the best part is all of you are writing your own memoirs every single day as well. And so you hold the pen and the power to change your next chapter and write it however you'd like. Yes, you look a bit emotional, and a lot of the
nice.
audience does cry.
Yeah.
In fact, in Perth, we had a lot of wet eyes in the room.
Cute.
But they were very drunk though. But
They were from Perth. They've never heard anyone say anything that smart in their life.
yeah. So the whole thing is that it all wraps around, and I'm happy to share all this now because I'm never performing this show again.
Yep.
But the show wraps around, and I say like, life is short, so why aren't I having the time of my life?
Yes.
And then what I do is when I am feeling down and feel like I need to pick myself back up again, I blast my favorite song in my headphones, which is Dancing Queen.
Yeah.
And then that's like how the show ends, is me being like, try that. I know mental health is very complex, but try just blasting your favorite song, dancing around the house. For me, it's Dancing Queen, and life is short. You're all writing your own memoirs, blah, 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 blah. And it's like a really nice way to like put a pin in this chaotic rogue show. And I think the other thing is people are paying $45 for a ticket on average to my show, depending on the venue, depending on the location, whatever. On average, they're paying $45 to come to my show. And I don't feel that I can give them what they can get online. So I want to give them a premium experience that is more than what they see every day. What is the incentive to come to my show if I'm just going to be politically correct?
If you could do it from the comfort of your own couch.
Exactly. So I think it is shocking for some of my followers to see me say some of the most rogue, politically incorrect things I've ever said. But they're so on board. Everyone laughs the entire time.
Because that joke's from the right, like you're on the right side of the joke.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's just really fun. And I think I've had nothing but good reviews and good feedback from everybody, except after like the first or second show, I did get like 3 emails that were like, homelessness is not a joke. And I'm like, yeah, but I think you've missed the joke. I think you've missed the joke there. Like, it's not about, at the end of the day, I'm the butt of the joke in everything that I do,
It's about, it's so much, people hear a topic, like a buzzword of what the joke is, like they're at a comedy show and they hear a buzzword and they go, I'm not someone who laughs at a joke like that. Listen to the joke.
Yeah.
I promise you it's going to be okay. There's so many, like, both shows that I've written have been really, like, I guess it's weird saying, like, because they're not necessarily dark shows. I find the shows are very, like, joyous in a lot of parts, particularly like the first one. The first one was really interesting. You're talking about, like, dealing with, like, family members and sort of like making a fun show out of that is something, it's so cathartic in a way. My first comedy set ever was a year after my dad died, and my first hour-long show ever is about a lot of stuff, but it's about like growing up with it's pretty heavy, I guess. It's like growing up with a heroin addict and how, it's sad, but there's so much fun to be had. And it's like, how do you, I guess the show is like, what do you do when everything is crazy and ridiculous? It's like, find stuff that you, like, if you're crying, find stuff that like makes you laugh. There's no better feeling than when you're like crying, especially around a friend, and then they say something so funny that you can't, you have to crack a smile and you're like, stop.
Yeah.
I'm like, now I'm laughing. Like, that's the best feeling in the world to me, is like anytime I was ever sad about like anything that happened like in my life or with my dad or anything, someone would say something so funny. Like at his funeral, I don't think I've said the criminal activity. My dad went to jail, guys. Someone that knew him came up and almost was like, he was one of the best men I knew. He was the worst drug dealer I've ever seen. And I was like, funniest thing you could say about a human being is the worst drug dealer I've ever seen. I'm like, that's impressive. You got to do
still won something, didn't he? Still won an award.
And his name's in your mouth.
Maybe you acted like a fan.
That is fan behavior from you at the funeral. See, like, it's like, that's how you have fun. And it's also, if it's your story to tell, you're allowed to say whatever you want.
Yeah, for sure.
You're allowed to do whatever I love live shows, and it's so exciting. I think it's a way to keep things like fresh and longer than this like monotonous. I say it on the podcast every episode, but I hate the part 58 of all social media. Hey guys, doing this part 704.
No, yeah. Yeah. I'm also such a cock tease with my audience. Like if
Yeah.
they love something, I probably won't do it again.
Better.
Because I, one, think it's a great marketing strategy because you're actually making them miss out.
Yeah.
And two, I think if you give them too much of the same thing, they get bored.
And they'll
I
go,
mean-
oh, this is over, like, I'm bored of this. Yeah, this is overdone now. It's like, well, that's the person who asked for part 7. I always go, no.
No. Well, we've seen it time and time again. There are creators who come up with one character that they can apply to so many aspects and they just whack that dead mole till it's crying. And then where are they now? What are they doing? Because
Doing
you
that character.
you didn't adapt, you didn't do anything, you didn't start a podcast, you didn't let people in on your personal life. You just became a character. And so it's very jarring then when you stop doing that character and you try and become this personality because you haven't actually had that journey with your following along
No one
the
knows
way.
that person.
So it's so jarring for them and they actually then find out who you truly are and go, oh no, this isn't why I followed you. And then you find out that you lose followers because so that's why it's always been so important to me to take my audience on the entire journey with me. Yes, I make the funny little videos that go viral and things like that, but I want you to actually know me because one, I enjoy that connection and love that for me. And obviously it benefits me as much as it benefits them. But two, it's so obvious that, I mean, we just did 16 shows around the country. 15 of the shows sold out. One in Adelaide didn't sell out. Wankers. But
Getting mad at that few seats.
yeah,
Rude.
honestly. I mean, there were only like 12 seats left, but still, like to be the only one that didn't sell out, I could have said the whole national tour sold out. But anyway.
They let you down.
That's fine. I think like it goes to show that because sorry to bring it up, and I always do talk about this, just about how good I am, but my connection with my audience is so apparent because I can do a 16 show tour around Australia and sell out 15 of the shows.
Yep.
There are people with millions of followers who are putting on their own national tours who can barely move a single fucking ticket in the venue and they are booking these huge venues thinking they're going to sell out and evidently they don't sell any tickets because they haven't got a connection with their audience.
So people go, oh, I just liked that character they do. I don't care about them.
Exactly.
If you've got a fan base that is like ride or die, it's so good.
Yeah.
But like both, I think, emotionally and, you know, career-wise, financially about moving tickets. It's also like people that actually care anything about you.
Yeah. And I'm just that person, as we said at the start.
Yeah.
I'm a gossiper,
Yeah.
but I'm also, you know, a realist as well. And so that's how I act with my audience. That's me. I'm like, let's have a gossip. I'm going to tell you all this tea from my life.
Yeah.
But also maybe here's a political statement mixed in with it as well. Or maybe here's a little
Sneaking the
life
veggies
lesson.
in the food.
Exactly. You know? So that's how I've always operated. And I want to say like it's worked really well for me, but it's also just like how I function as a human being anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I remember, well, what were we talking about? Oh, I asked you if you had any good drag names and you said you had experience in drag.
Yes. And funny how you say that like live shows is a, you know, like an outlet or a change or, you know, makes it more 3D. So the reason I started drag is because I actually had been doing social media for probably 4 or 5 years at this point, and I decided I was just so unmotivated. Like nothing. We weren't living in this day and age as well, where you can just pick up the camera and make a video. Like it was still the era of like having to sit down, plan, edit a YouTube video. Like I don't even think Instagram had like much more than you could upload a video. But remember how Instagram videos
You had to go and find it.
It wasn't like a Reels. It was like a, you know. You had to do an IGTV, I think. And that was, you know, they were still pushing that they needed to be like 10-minute videos, right?
That might have been the worst thing to ever happen to
Oh,
social
for
media.
sure.
No offense, Instagram. IGTV was fucking awful.
Yeah. So it was a very different time and a lot of the content was long form content. I was feeling very uninspired. I just was in a big slump with content creation and just being creative in general. And then I always loved drag. Like I was always going out watching drag queens, obviously Drag Race, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I just decided to give it a go one time because I was with some friends who were drag queens and they were like, you should give it a go. And I was like, you know what? I think I would be really good at it. It would be really fun. And I did a competition and did my first performance and won that night. And then, but I will say, like, most people win on their first night as like a bit of encouragement because everyone loves the underdog, the first girl.
The crowd will get around it.
Yeah. But also I had so many friends that so many people came and like supported me. And so it goes off like audience cheers, like who wins. And so I had a lot of people in the room, but also, you know, most of the time, if it's your first time in drag, you'll probably win. And back then it was a $200 cash prize and I was loving that. Tax-free, tax-free.
Wow.
Was loving that. And so then weekly I would just do the competition because it was on each week and I would clear the floor with these
You were
girls.
booked and busy.
Yeah. And then I did like a big like 10-week competition and I was the shock elimination of the season. Yeah. Which was like, I loved doing that. Minnie Cooper from Drag Race is like the host of that. And it's not just a competition. She actually mentors you and takes you through, you know, how to improve. And I learned a lot from Minnie and I have a lot of respect for Minnie. And had a great time. But I remember Hannah Conda was one of the judges, and on my first week of that competition, she said, "Oh, you're, you know, because at that point I'd only been doing drag for like 2-3 months or something." And she was like, your level of professionalism and talent is just years beyond like how long you've been doing this. And let me tell you, baby, the girls on the strip were shaking in their boots because I was getting booked for, I mean, most people as a drag queen, for the most part, you do all these little competitions. You don't really win much. You perfect, you grow, you get better at your makeup, your hair, your looks, your everything.
Yeah.
And then maybe a couple years down the track, you start getting your gigs. You work really, really hard. You start getting more gigs. You start maybe doing a production show. You maybe get a nightclub spot. Like there's like a hierarchy, right?
For sure.
And without tooting my own horn, like I kind of came on the scene and people went, oh, she's really good. And suddenly, you know, 4 months in, I was getting my first gigs, which was unheard of. I was winning almost every competition. Like 4 times out of 5, I would come first place in all the competitions. And that really rattled a lot of feathers on Oxford Street. And I was then booked and busy being a paid girl, but I was also a DJ at the time. So sometimes, I've always been one of those people who does 10 things at once.
Yeah.
And so I was DJing and drag. So I was just slowly trickling into all the clubs on Oxford Street, having a finger in every pie.
They look around the room, it's you behind the bar, and it's you on the DJ desk, and it's you on the stage, and it's you as the security. They're like, oh God, oh God, oh God. I hate this bitch.
Yeah, I'm like, you cannot escape me. This is my street, bitches.
Toot the horn.
So a lot of people were a bit envious and bitchy about that whole thing because like it is a catty community, the drag queen community, you can imagine.
For sure.
And I wasn't intentionally stepping on any toes, but also if the opportunities are going to arise, I'm going to take them.
You're not going to say no.
Hello.
You're not going to be like, I don't deserve this.
Yeah.
Take it.
And so then the pandemic hit and I put on so much weight, none of my costumes fit anymore. And I was also a DJ. And then when we came out of lockdown, I couldn't do drag because nothing fit. And I was like, I'm not going to buy. I mean, I was on JobSeeker and everything at the time, in the lockdown. So I was like, I can't afford to be buying new dresses and things that fit me and all the rest of it. So I gave up drag and look, it was a moment in time. I loved it. It was fabulous, but it was a chapter of my life I probably won't revisit anytime soon. But then I was DJing and then social media kind of took off and I was making enough to stop DJing because the thing was I was getting so busy throughout the week with all my social media stuff and DJing was, you know, for the most part like 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. On weekends, and I was just like, this is not the lifestyle I want to live. And yeah, my name was Viper.
Is this drag or DJing?
Drag.
What do you have to say? Drag?
Oh,
Viper.
DJing was just alright, hey.
Okay.
But drag was Viper. Originally it was Viper. Originally it was Moan, as in like obviously a moan. Mona Lisa.
Mona Lisa, beautiful.
So basic though.
So, but like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It works.
Yeah, and so the first week I came out as Mona Lisa, and then some of the girls backstage said, "Oh, we didn't realize that was your name. There's actually another girl on Oxford Street called Moana Lisa."
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, that's fine. I'll just change my name then." And all the girls were like, "Wait, you're just gonna let her have it? Like you just won the competition. Like you could totally just take the name." And I'm going, "I'm not here for the drama and the gagging
You
and
got
the
and I
goofery."
got us 7 more good names.
Literally.
So it's fine.
So then my friend and I came up with Viper Bytes, and Bytes was BYTES, and Bytes was because I was a digital creator. So that's fun. Gigabytes.
Yeah, gigabytes, megabytes.
But Viper, they like vipers in general, like the snakes, they are the laziest snakes in the world.
oh, love.
Which is why I went with Viper. And then I dropped the Bytes after a few months and I was just Viper because I thought it was like way more chic. And I was just known as like the laziest snake, which is very Libra energy, isn't it? Like I'm like, let's have a bitch, but like I can't be bothered doing anything about it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so that's my drag story. I know you didn't ask, but I told you.
What do you mean? That was I wanted to ask about it. That was the point.
You were like, you did drag, didn't you? And I'm like, well, let me tell you my life story.
No, I love it. That's exactly what I want. You know, I don't have to pull any teeth asking it out of you. I was gonna like say, I feel like you said a lot about like the drag scene. It could be so catty. Drag in general. It doesn't have to be a controversial opinion, but like, what's a pet peeve or something you would change about drag in general?
A controversial opinion would be not all drag is valid. Because there's such a movement of all drag is valid. But I think that some drag could use some work is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But one thing that I wish would change is it's getting there. It's getting there. But it's very white.
For sure. Especially in Australia.
It's a very white industry. And it's also, I mean, again, things are changing and it's getting a lot better. But drag shows are almost inherently racist. You know, there's an Egyptian drag show. There's an Asian drag show. There's a Mexican drag show. I mean, again, these days we don't see that very often.
But even when we do, like I know Hannah handled it so well when because what was hers again?
She did a show called Toki Ho.
Yes.
At ARC. And let me tell you, this is the thing. Again, it's with context. This show was, first of all, incredible, but they were in little kimonos, right? Yeah. And they were doing the songs like Tokyo Drift and stuff like that. And let me tell you, this show was the biggest hit with the Asian community in Sydney.
Yeah.
They would line down the block to come and see this drag show. When you went into the room to watch this show, 95% of people in the room were Asian people just loving this drag show and loving the fact that they were celebrating their culture.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, if you were actually in the room, there was, in quotations, nothing wrong with this show. But people just see drag queens wearing a kimono and go, that is cultural appropriation. This is where I'm in two minds about the whole thing because, okay, yes, when you actually look at it black and white, sure, it's probably cultural appropriation. But the impact that show had on the Asian community in Sydney and the joy that it brought people, I before any of that drama happened, I distinctly remember walking in my first night of seeing that show, that drag show, and looking around at all of these people's faces lit up by the fact that they were being represented on stage, granted not by Asian queens, but the show was, had Asian themes. I remember seeing the joy throughout the room from all of these people who were like, yes, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where, like, again, someone on the internet has seen a photo with no context and gone, this is cultural appropriation, which, as I said, maybe it is. But the impact that show had on the Sydney Asian community, I mean, they would pack the house down boots and support that show. And it was just really joyous to see the impact that show had on people. So,
it's so interesting. I always know, like, I didn't know much about what the show was. I always just knew that the way Hannah sort of really openly speaks about it is really cool to me. It's not like that's a PR nightmare, shut it down, don't talk about it, don't like leave it out of interviews, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like she's always like she makes a point of being the first to say like this is what the show was. Like, you know, whatever she says about it from then, I always just think that's an admirable approach to just stand there with whatever you did, if you regret it, if you don't, if there was context, if there wasn't, just to be like open about it and be like, it was this time, this is what we did. I can understand why people maybe wouldn't appreciate that. Like,
This is all about growth. And
let's just have an open conversation about it.
And now Hannah, and this is another little piece of inside scoop for you all. Hannah Conda and I are great friends. She brought Acknowledgement to Country to Oxford Street. Before her, no drag queens on Oxford Street at least did an Acknowledgement of Country. Hannah brought that in.
Yeah.
She still says it before any one of her performances, or, you know, technically in the drag world, sometimes you do a performance and then you talk. So she'll acknowledge after her performance. But, you know, now before production shows, sometimes there are pre-recorded messages and things like that as well. So, like, I think Hannah is a great example of someone who has obviously made mistakes in the past, learnt from those mistakes, and now is actively trying to, I mean, when she went back to Drag Race and took all of the costumes that were made by Indigenous artists and had messaging around our Indigenous culture and things
gave
like
them
that.
a platform as well. It's like so good.
Hello, she is a great example of how
So
someone
lovely.
makes mistakes in the past. But again, I must stress that at the time, I can't remember exactly when, but I feel like it was around 2017 was when that Toki Ho show was on.
Yeah.
Again, at that time, like
There was worse going on.
there was worse going
There
on.
was
and
actual, like, there's actual blackface going on in the like, community then. Like,
yeah.
it did feel like let's have a measured conversation about.
Yeah, I think
this.
in context, like there was nothing wrong with it at the time. And so I want to say like she made a mistake, but it's hard to criticize someone for making that mistake when the environment was different and also she didn't know any better at the time. And of course, once you learn that it's not good, you don't do it. Same with me and the Mexican outfits at Mexican parties back in 2008. You know what I mean?
Rather than saying like, I did this terrible thing and almost it being like right now, it can be more of an adjustment of being like, I'm learning about this and I'm starting to reconsider the ways that I want to perform and the things that I want to, you know, like talk about on stage or whatever. Like, I think it'd be much more helpful if that's the way we learnt about it rather than like, don't do it, don't talk about it. It gets brought up and then you have to be reprimanded like you've done it that week. Like, I just think people should get ahead of it and be like, I'm just thinking about the way I perform and like, I think I'm going to move away from that and maybe perform something else because this is what I'm learning about right now. I think we're like moving forward as a society and maybe I shouldn't do this right now. Yeah, it's really interesting, like all the like PC stuff because also like, yeah, drag was activism in a way and that's never supposed to be comfortable for everyone. I think there was some super problematic stuff that happened within like drag culture, even when it was so important for one reason, for, you know, for such a like gay rights and like activism side of it, that was probably the same time in which I think drag would have been the most misogynistic. And then drag has been like certain sectors of drag, of course, is so important for, you know, like a lot of the like rise in like transness that we're exposed to now. Drag in other little sectors is incredibly transphobic.
Yeah.
Like it's always going to be shifting. It's always going to be changing. Like I always just think like all drag is not valid. Bad drag, cringe drag. I'm going to say drag. I love that everyone's making the joke about like when a drag queen has like, does like, this is me from Greatest Showman and has like the fucking words on the every drag queen's going to do it at one point and it's never good. It's always like, okay.
That's one thing I never performed. This
Good.
is me. Never.
Good.
Couldn't do
Uh-huh.
it.
Not with the words on the dress. It's never good. I'm sorry.
It's very Nina West.
I was in the middle of saying, I'm sorry, Nina West. It's nothing against you, Nina West, but it is.
She loves a quote on a dress, doesn't she?
Loves
Fucking
it.
hell.
She loves it. But it's like, that drag, I'm going to have to draw the line. But like, if you're good at what you do, it could be lots of different types of drag. Like, I love someone who's good at being a man in a wig and a dress. Because some people are good at that. And you want that from them because it's like who they are and they're so good at it. When it's someone like Plastique who's like, woman, she's good at that. Not everyone has to be that. You just have to be good at what you like, your thing.
Yeah.
You know, some queens you're not asking for the most beautiful thing because maybe they want to look scary and they want to look a little more punk with it.
Right. And it's hard though because society is not on that level. Although we in the queer community are on that bandwagon where I'm in the club and I'm going, I want to see more I want to see more black queens. I want to see more quirky and different queens and the scary drag queens and things like that. Like, as a nightclub owner, you wouldn't want those people on your stage because that's going to deter patrons because society isn't on board with that yet. Yes, and not even all of the queer community would be on board with that yet. But I can say I can say all the time, I want to see all of this stuff, but I also can acknowledge why we don't see, I mean, people of colour, different story. We should absolutely have them on stage. But the ones that are doing the crazy, scary stuff or, you know, looking a little...
a little crazy.
Yeah.
You can understand,
why a nightclub owner or bar manager wouldn't want you on stage because... society isn't ready for that. And I mean, although queer clubs are for queer people, they are overrun by the straights. They have been gentrified by hens
parties. That's it.
And so...
And the hens parties want to see an Ariana Grande number.
Exactly.
And a death drop.
Exactly.
They want that.
And also...
And I love that.
That's easy. So like, for example, when you go to the club on a Saturday night and it's 2:00 in the morning and there's a drag queen about to come on stage... No one actually wants, like, we're all drunk, we're all having a good time. We actually just want a queen to come up, do an Ariana Grande song and get off. I don't need you to come up wearing chest hair and popping balloons and paint flying everywhere and you're hanging from the ceiling and
not
you're
at Universal at 2.
Vomiting on someone else, doing Lady Gaga's set at that South by Southwest. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't need all that, my darling. We just want you to do a high kick and a jump split and get off stage.
Most obscure reference. I love that from you. I know you're a Gaga fan. Gross. That's okay. That is it. But it's like, you know, that drag is for the basement at Imperial.
Yes.
That's where I think it should be booked. I think this about comedy all the time. I know why my favorite acts aren't going to be at the Comedy Store because they're going to freak out the normies. They're going to freak out the middle-aged people who go like, we should see stand-up comedy. Well, I guess we'll go to the Comedy Store. I know why you need, I know when I'm there, I'm going to pull out my club set.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not doing the shit I do in Newtown.
Yeah.
At somewhere. It's reading the room. That's drag as well. You got to read the room.
Yeah.
If you're booked at a brunch, don't be popping the, don't be Lady Gaga vomiting. Weird.
Yeah.
Do, you know... something nice, walk around, point at the people and they go, the drag queen pointed at me. You got to read the room, but it's it's cool also to have designated spaces for the little freaks. I think that about comedy. I think that about all art, surely.
Yeah, for sure.
Surely that's how we move towards things. So much of drag and comedy, the communities are so similar. So similar.
Comedy is a bit of drag, really.
And drag is comedy.
Yeah.
And I tell you, no, it won't be quite yet, but it'll be very soon. I don't know if you've ever met Thomas Bleach, but he used to run this gig in Brisbane. One of my favorite things in the whole world. It was the best idea. It was called The Switch Up. And so basically it'd be half drag, half comedy. The first half would be stand-up comedians going up and doing a set, 7-minute set. And then in the middle of those would be drag queens just doing a spot, you know, what we're all good at.
Yeah.
And second half would be drag queens did a roast and then the comedians did a drag spot each.
Yeah.
And it's so fun. It's timed meticulously so you're paired up with one of the drag queens. This is for people who they would not do drag. Or a few comedians per show is you're almost doing drag anyway. But a few comedians, the straight male comics who would really get into it, it's a perfect casting and they would fucking serve. You'd seen this man be a real straight man comedy and then get up there and turn it out was the
Yes.
best show I've ever seen.
I love that.
And they were doing it in Brisbane for a while, but Thomas moved down here. And the other night I was at Birdcage with Thomas and I was like yelling at him, being like, bring it back, I promise. And he was like, all right, let's do this by like whatever time. I don't know. I can't hold it to him on a podcast, but he's bringing it back. And I think it's like so good to combine the two communities because they don't really overlap as much as I think they should, because we're all out here
yeah.
doing shows,
Yeah.
having fun. Like, they're so similar. You know, you do big gigs, you get booked around, everyone's jealous of each other. Like, it's that as well. So, yeah, the Switch Up is one of the coolest gigs, and I'm really excited.
It's a
for it to come
great
back.
concept.
It's so good.
Great concept.
And audiences eat it up
yeah.
because it's like you get to see good drag, and then you get to see like a first spot, like the first time, or like.
Yeah, I couldn't do it because that'd be too good.
Well, that's what I've done it twice, and let me tell you, Thomas was like, "Do you want me to match you up with one of the drag?" No, I'll handle it.
Oh, you're like, I'll do my own makeup and sort it out. Oh my god.
Well, yes. But I always say,
Yes.
like, Tom, like we talk about this on the podcast a lot. Everything I do is like drag adjacent anyway. Is like everyone's like, it's a heartbeat away from just full. Like even all of the Effie Trinket looks for the Hunger Games. Like I'm in a lace front.
Yeah.
in those.
Yeah.
It was King the Drag Queens, who's my best friend in the world. She brought it over, and we were like gluing my eyebrows down as Lockie came over, and he was like, I have blue hairspray, and we were like, "That's good. That's your drag, Lockie. I'd pay any amount of
And
money
this
to
is
see
what I
that man in
mean.
drag."
Not all drag is valid. And Lockie's is one of them.
But I would love to. I think Ella King. I want her to put him in drag. I think he'd live.
Oh yeah, for
I think
sure.
he'd live for it.
I'm like, yeah. I think. Don't worry.
But it's like only it's him, not because I.
I was gonna say something, but then I was like, no, this will. I don't want to upset Lockie, but I'm just like, I think drag would change his life. It'd be some kind of awakening. You know what I mean?
He always says like, we don't even like we avoid the Troye Sivan One of Your Girls video clips because it keeps awakening something in him.
Oh yeah, the
The-
one with Ross Lynch in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lockie doesn't really. We can't really look in the direction of that.
Wow.
He always says like, it twitched.
That's what I think I literally said to him like a few years ago. I was like, you know what? 5 minutes with me in a bathroom stall and I think I could change your life. Like,
Yeah. But he's quite like, he's like the perfect person to talk to about that stuff because he's not one of those people that go like, I'm 110% straight. I talked to Will Gibb on the last episode about this. Real straight people never ever say that. They go like, oh, yeah, I pretty much like that's all I've experienced so far, but like I don't know what's gonna happen. And that's like when you actually go like, yeah, you're comfortable in it, you're not hiding anything. Guys that are like, I would never do that. You are doing that. You are watching gay porn and you like it. Like,
can I tell you a story? It'll be 2 minutes. Okay.
please.
But I think it needs to be said. This is a very long time ago. Okay. I have spoken about this before, so I don't know why I'm nervous to say it, but I think that your audience may not know me, but I think it's a funny story.
Well, they do now.
And this was actually going to end up in my memoir show, but it didn't. So basically, long story short, I hooked up with a guy on Grindr. He was quite an older guy, not too old, but like older than I would usually go for.
Yeah.
And this is when I was living on the Central Coast, and he lived out at where did he live? Not important. The point is, I went over. I just went over to, do a couple things, but we ended up doing everything.
Run some errands.
Well, yeah, like I just wanted to, have a bit of fun, but not go all the way. Anyway, we ended up going all the way, and that was fabulous, lovely, gorgeous. As I'm leaving, walk downstairs, look at the fridge. Who does he have a photo with? One of my high school bullies. It's his dad.
Oh, that is the best thing I've ever.
Yeah.
What in the euphoria
Yeah.
happened to your life? Oh,
Yeah. And you know what's so funny is one time I saw on social media another guy in, I think, the UK say the exact same thing. And so my thing is, how often is this happening? Because, I mean, his story is probably a little bit different, but the premise was that he slept with his I think he actually ran into the boy in the house and like came downstairs and the bully was inside the house and he was like, oh, I just fucked your dad. But for me, I just saw the photo on the fridge and went, oh, you've got kids? And then I went, oh, I know that kid.
You know, the thing that's probably a self-fulfilling prophecy though, is because if you're like a boy that is obviously growing up with like a closeted dad and that internalized homophobia, you're going to have internalized and just straight up homophobia to other gay people.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you don't like them because your dad hates them because he is dealing with that.
Yeah.
And now, that triangle's about to connect in a bad way. Crazy. Yeah. That's insane. I love that for you though.
How often is that happening? Like it's probably like very often. Very
probably
often.
more. That's probably because it's learned, it's handed down.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many stories I could tell about so many guys who have been, I mean, I'm not proud of my past. We all grow, we all change, we all learn. But there are many guys who I went to school with who then, have messaged me later after school and now have kids and a wife or a long-term partner or girlfriends they've been with since high school that I was friends with. For the most part, I haven't done stuff with a lot of them, but I mean, there were some that I also wanted. Because there's one guy who messaged me, I never would have picked it. It just had never had an inkling. And he messaged me one night and I knew because I'd been invited to the party that he was at with all the boys from high school. And this was very fresh after high school too. So I was still traumatized. But, we had the girls group and the boys group, right? Yes. And this was a party at the boys' house. And the girls group got invited. I got invited. And I decided I ended up not wanting to go. I just thought, not really my scene. I don't think I want to put myself in that position. Anyway, one of the boys messages me that night. Oh, missed you at the party. Like, can't believe you didn't come. Yeah, not feeling well. Him, wish you could be here right now, etc., etc. Starts going on. I'm going, this is getting a little bit weird. He's like, yeah, I'm not gay, but like, I want you to S my D. And I went, how much can we say on this podcast? Like anything?
Yes, my D.
Well, I've got a Nova podcast, so sometimes we have to be careful about what we talk about.
You can say anything you like.
Right. He asked me to suck his dick, and I was like, well, I better. And so but here's the thing. I drove to the house where the party, because he wanted me to come inside the house and suck his dick on the lounge where I knew all the boys and the girls from high school were sleeping in that house. Some were in the garage, some were upstairs, the parents were away. Everyone was everywhere all over the house. And he was like, I'm on the pull-out lounge. I want you to walk in. And I said, is anyone else in the room with you? And he said, yes, and mentioned 2 guys. And I was like, you don't understand. If they wake up, and we are doing this, they will probably kill me. Like, they will bash me. They will not be happy with this.
Squished into a tiny dust.
So I'm going, okay, but this sounds kind of thrilling though. Anyway, I convinced him because the thing for me was I was going, this is a prank. Surely I'm going to show up.
Scary.
And it's going to be all the boys and all the girls. Because, I mean, it was just after high school. The girls were... And we had that friendship where they would prank me to do something like this. I didn't think that they would, but I'm like, surely this is a prank. So I've fully gone to the house. I'm parked out the front and I'm messaging him going, here. And he's going, yeah, hang on, won't be long. And I'm going, this is a prank. Like the whole party's going to come out with their phones recording or something and be like, haha, you came here to suck his dick and it's just a big joke. And then no, he came outside and
you did
we drove to the end of the road and there was a lovely little children's park. And
it's always in the children's park.
Well, on the bench though. It's not like we fucked on the slide. But we went over to the little bench and did our thing. And I was just like, this is wild because I, 1, never would have picked it. And 2, until the dick was in my mouth, I was like, this is a prank.
I had the opposite happen of that in school. There was someone, okay, she, fuck, I just say shit, don't I?
I get on a podcast and I go, okay, so we probably shouldn't have said that, but whatever.
Because it's just like, you go like, where's this going? Out into the world.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But this is one I'm like, surely, I mean, I just have to beg Lockie not to clip certain things up and then he does because he knows.
You're not making a video out of the sucking dick story, okay?
No, you have my word, So there was this girl and I didn't know what I was saying, but day 1 of year 7, I said, that girl reminds me of Ronnie from Jersey Shore. I now understand I was calling her a dyke.
Okay,
But I also was like, why am I saying that? because the call is coming from inside the house. And then all through high school, she was just like, she was with the popular group. But for some reason, it was like the popular group and that one mask butch lesbian. And no one talked about it. No one talked about it. It was like, hey, does anyone realize there is a flaming homosexual among us, by the way? And then like a bunch of us like came out. Like I came out so early and like had a girlfriend through like on and off through high school, whatever. And then like year 12, so like her and I are like friends enough. We're not from the same groups, but we do drama together and stuff. She's cool, super, super funny. Like some of the funniest, not bullying, but making fun of me that ever happened was from her and her best friend. Yeah. Hilarious. Like they used to call me Nida because I was like such a theatre kid. Calling me a school I'm not going to get into, hilarious. I thought it was so funny. I put it on my year 12 jersey.
I love that.
That's the biggest read ever. Be like, okay, Nida. And it's like, I'm not going to get in. I would love to.
What do you reckon was on the back of my year 12 jersey? Could be seen as problematic these days.
What? What?
I decided to get Beyonce.
Oh, but like, come on. Come on. That's awesome. I stand by that. I think you're allowed.
I think
you weren't saying I resemble Beyonce. You said you're the essence.
Yeah, I walked around for Sasha Fierce wouldn't fit, so I had to do Beyonce. And they couldn't put the accent above the E. The printing company wouldn't do that for copyright reasons. But I walked around for 12 months with Beyonce on the back of my jacket. I mean, and through the shops after school. Like, we'd all go and get KFC across the road. I'm walking through the mall with Beyonce on the back. Can you imagine what people thought of me?
Oh, Liv. I love this.
So anyway, what happened with the butch lesbian?
Oh, yes. Well, so we were sort of friends and then we sort of started like Snapchatting again. It was like enough that I was like, guys, but not enough to prove it. She would be like Snapchatting me, blah, 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 and be like, oh, she said, let's watch Step Up 2 soon.
Oh. Red flag.
Who's watching that platonically?
Yeah, legit.
By the way,
yeah.
Step Up 2, you're a lesbian. You are a lesbian. You are a lesbian. And then I think right after school finished, I think we were all at the club and my friends were like egging her on because everyone was drunk and they were like, don't you think Eden's pretty? And she was like, yeah. But like nothing ever happened. I think I might have spooked her because I was like out. So if I like inched to, if I did anything that sort of like took that step, scared her off.
Yeah, right.
She'd be spooked. And then she'd come back and I'd be like, is this happening? No. And like just no one had talked about it for years. And you know who? She ended up dating a girl that I hated more than anything. She's in a lesbian relationship now. And actually, I don't hate this girl and I have to say that in case, but like a girl that really did not like me.
Yeah.
At all. Because she was like just the opposite to me. She was in drama as well, but she was like, we always used to say she had constipated face. She was always like,
oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
I don't think you guys should do that. And I was so like just triggered by her. I'd be like, well, I'm fucking going to. Like she just brought out so much anger in me. And the fact that she's now dating this girl that I chipped away at for years. I did the groundwork of that girl's sexual
So
awakening.
hard when you put in the time and effort and they don't respect that, isn't it?
I know. Not to say I made you, but... Come on.
See, now that's one of those things where you say that to get to a punchline and it does not mean. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of those things.
Preach it. Say, like, obviously.
You get to the punchline, it's not as serious as you think.
And explaining that punchline makes it 50% less funny. So let's just not have to do it. Like, when people go, explain that, I go, well, now I'm over it.
Yeah.
Now I don't even want to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like we had a very similar, essence during high school.
Yeah, for sure.
I always say,
we must have.
People always say, like, oh, you're unapologetically yourself. I'm like, it's unavoidably.
Yes. Oh, that is such a good way to put it.
There's nothing I can do about it.
Well, I just can't be bothered trying to be someone else.
Yeah,
like,
too hard.
I just can't be bothered being fake. I'm just like, at this point in my life, I mean, how old are you?
I'm 25.
Yeah. So, I mean, sorry to be that person, but like I'm almost 30. So I'm way, way older than you. I'm so much wiser.
You're like 4 years or something.
But I'm like, I'm turning 30 and I just cannot give a fuck about anything in my life anymore. Like, I'm just here to just have a good time till I die, whenever that may be. And I actually literally don't care what anyone thinks of me, whether someone likes me or not, whether they have an opinion of me. If they want to talk, let them. Yeah. It's fan behavior, baby.
Fan behavior.
You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
I love that. This has been one of my favorite episodes.
Uh-huh.
It's been so much fun. I love yeah, I feel like
I'm sure you say that to all the whores you have on this podcast.
I mostly do it because Lockie has to hear it.
I love it.
I love him so much. Miss you, Lockie. I don't know which bar table you're on at the moment.
All of them. He's getting slapped left, right, and center.
Yeah, he's lining up a few times.
Yeah.
Okay.
But next time, if you ever go away, I want to do an episode with Lockie.
Please.
'Cause I think that would change his life.
I think it would. I think yeah. Oh, absolutely. He'd be coming forward about some things. He'd be like, all right, it's happened. It's happened. I'm using the term. God bless him. Thank you so much for coming and doing this.
Right.
I
Thanks for
appreciate it
having
so
me.
much. Guys, listen to the podcast. Go watch. Did you say your live show would have been done?
Yeah, live show's done.
Are you going to do another one soon? Ever?
Fuck no.
Okay. Well, guys, you missed out. Sorry.
I feel like I would like to get one ready for next year, but God, it's a lot of effort.
So much.
And the thing
So
is, for
much.
me, although I love it, I make a lot more money doing other things. So it's hard because it does take up so much of my time. So I do have to put pause on social media,
Yeah.
sponsorships and all the rest of that, which is where I make a lot more money. But I
For
do the
sure.
shows because I fucking love
Passion
them.
project.
And I want to meet my audience and I want them to come and be able to see me live. And I love it. Yeah, it's very passion project for me. So the thing is that it's a good 5 months out of my life to write, because I'm not like you who just makes does jokes all year and then will do like, a festival
Yeah.
show. The show that I don't do stand-up comedy all year. So
Yeah.
I just sit down for a month and write a whole show start to finish, learn the whole show for the next month,
Way
take it
more
on
like
tour
theatre.
for 3 months, and then I can forget about it.
Yeah.
So it's too much in my brain to be able to do everything I want. So next year we'll do another show, but who fucking knows? Let me just get over this one first.
Yeah.
And have a breather.
Well, it's so amazing that you did like a tour. It's so sick.
Oh, for sure.
It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, write into the fan mail if you have any like little things that you want to
You're doing so
say.
amazing, sweetie.
And I know Lockie usually does this part, please.
Do you want me to do it? Is it all written there? I'll read it.
Not at all.
Oh, you're just making it up. Okay,
I'm
good,
making it up.
good,
I'm
good.
just looking down because like Lockie won't even let me intro the show because he goes like, "Hey guys," and I go like, "Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. Oh my God, Lockie McIntyre," and he's like, "Get away from it." But I'm in the episode how I want. He's not here. He can't stop me. We love you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
What if the episode just ended mid-sentence? Like,